Thank you, everybody. I am overwhelmed by your generosity of your time here today. I'm Carol Truesdale, if you haven't known me. I want to thank our council people that are here and city staff that have taken their time to share. So I'm going to ask everybody to silence their phones if they will, please. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, thank you. All right, are we ready? Okay, all right. So this is a little gizmo I have to use here so I don't break anything. Okay, I want to welcome everybody. Welcome to our community workshop this afternoon. It's the Citizens for Affordable Living. We are just like you and business owners, and we're just basically trying to make sure that we stand for making sure that we can affordably live in this beautiful city. So again, for my heartfelt thank you. I have a lot of people that I know out there and people that I don't know out there. I just want to say I appreciate you coming. I'm going to turn the microphone over to our illustrious steering head, which is Jeff Heller. And Mr. Heller, you're up next. I didn't screw up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's one slide.
I had one slide. Yeah, here you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you all for coming on a beautiful afternoon, which I'm sure most of you would rather be doing something else outside. But you came to a very important meeting, and I think at the end you'll understand why. Before I get into my presentation, we have a few dignitaries here that I'd like to introduce. Mr. Jamie Irons, Mayor Irons, are you here, please? There's Jamie. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Councilman John Henning right here in the front. John, thank you. I know you wanted to be sailing today instead. So, our city manager is here. He's been on board about 4 months or so, and he's jumped right into this issue, and you know it's a huge issue. Scott Collins. Scott?
Over here.
Oh, Scott's got a couple of words. I told him to keep it under 3 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Red Davis, are you here?
Yes, he is.
Thank you, Red. I didn't see you come in. Thank you for attending. I've got a timer. All right.
Yeah, public comment. Thank you. Hello, my name is Scott Collins, and I'm the new city manager, and I've been here for about 4 months, and I just wanted to say thank you to Jeff and the leadership of Cal for allowing me to come here and offer a few insights that I've had on the Wharf project. It's a project that's designed to secure our water future while also complying with very important water quality and coastal commission regulations and rulings. So I've been here for about 4 months, and I gotta say that I found Morro Bay to be one of the most informed and engaged citizenry that I've ever experienced in my 15 years in local government. You all clearly care about your community and your town, and it's evidenced by the fact that you're here today participating in a very important meeting while you could be outside enjoying what is spectacular weather, knowing that we're going to be greeted with a week of rain. So, in my 4 months of my observations, I've heard it consistently. The community and council are most concerned about with the Wharf project is cost and ratepayer affordability, bar none. This resonates with council and staff. We understand that Morro Bay is not the most affordable place to live. And so, it is our most important duty to ensure that we not only continue to provide the level of services that you have become accustomed to, but that we do it in an affordable way. Which is why we're working so hard, dedicating countless hours to make sure we bring down the costs of this project and ensure that we can do what we can to reduce any proposed rate increases. So last year, the city engaged in a peer review process that helped bring down the estimated cost of the entire project from $167 million down to $150 million. And we're currently in a competitive bidding process, which is designed with the intent to bring down that cost estimate even further. We're also in the process of hiring a program manager whose responsibility will be throughout the project's lifespan to find further efficiencies and cost reductions. And then on the rate side, just this past week, we were in Washington, D.C. meeting with our federal legislators and federal agencies, trying to secure our subsidized loan for a project as well as grants. And we intend to do the same thing with our state legislators and agencies to secure state funding for the project. And we're also working to enhance the utility discount program, which is designed to reduce rates for those with lower economic means in the community. So I just wanted to say thank you all for participating. I encourage you to continue to educate yourself on this project and stay engaged. Please reach out to council and staff should you have any concerns or questions about the project. Thank you so much.
That was pretty Anthony's, but I'm going to cut him some slack since he's been very helpful to me in my discussions with the city. So this is the purpose right here. It's very clear, it's very simple. Number one is to alert the community. Rate increases are coming. Some of you know about the sewer, some of you have seen the numbers, 167 million, 150 million, whatever it is. We have to alert the community, and thank you so much for coming. When you leave, I want you to tell your friends, your neighbors, anybody you know. We have people from out of town, from Visalia. Thank you for driving down to attend this meeting. The second purpose is to inform you a little bit about the project, but mostly how to vote against the rate increases. Now, most people don't know that you can do that. But in California, a law was passed in the late 90s known as Prop 218 that allows you to oppose rate increases, whatever the reason. Now, some of you may want your rates to go up, and if that's fine, I mean, you can leave now if you want to, but you know, if you think maybe you don't want your rates to go up, please stay, please listen. Cal considers ourselves the focal point of information on the project. We've got a very active group. We go to council meetings. We've been involved for over a year, so we know a lot. The city knows a lot. We know the opposing views, and that's why we're here. And then lastly, we're going to ask for your help. First of all, this room is not cheap. The flyers that we send out are not going to be cheap. That's what we spend money on, is getting the word out to people. So if you care to make a donation on the way out, we would greatly appreciate it. But more important than the donations is you telling your friends and neighbors that this is happening. We've knocked on doors, we set up tables at Albertsons. 99% of the people don't even know about the sewer project. 99% don't know that their rates could double to pay for this huge facility. 99.9% don't know they can vote against it. You can vote against it. Everyone who lives in this community who owns property can vote against the rate increases. Everybody who lives in Morro Bay who's a customer of the water and sewer services in Morro Bay can vote against it. This is the tough part. A, nobody knows that. B, we need 3,000 votes to win. 3,000. So what is that, 5, 10, 20 times the number of people in this room? So we have a lot of work to do between now and May 1st. I'm going to move fairly quickly. We talked about the property owners being able to vote against it. The water and sewer customers can vote against it. If your water and sewer rates double and you're running a hotel, and I saw John Soto here, what is going to happen to your business? Are you going to raise rates? Are you going to make a deal with the city so that your rates actually don't go up and the residents pay for it? Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Restaurant owners use a lot of water. What about your rates? Are you going to want to support the rate that they propose in May, or are you going to want to vote against it? We just want you to know how to vote against it if you want to. If you think your rates are reasonable and you want to, just don't vote, don't show up. Other business owners that use water, hair salons, Mission Linen. Has anyone thought about them? Are they going to get a special rate? The entire community needs to be alerted. Whether they pay a water bill or not, we want you to alert people. Standing in line at the grocery store. Hey, did you hear about the sewer rate increases that are going to happen in a month? Did you know your rates are probably going to go up? Start a conversation, refer them to Cal. We have an email address, we have a Facebook page, we're working on a website. We're going to have a lot of information on there. One thing I wanted to show is, because this is what we had in 2015, I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2015 you got a notice like this. If you're a property owner or a customer. At the very top, notice of public hearing. This is what you need to watch for in the mail. Might have a little different heading, but it's probably going to be very similar. Notice of public hearing on proposed water and sewer rates. And it's a nice 5-page document. You read it, $75 million for the plant. Wait a minute, $75 million for the plant 3 years ago? So you go on and you read some more, improvements, et cetera, some other things, and we're gonna raise your rates, explains what the basis is, all seems very logical. On page 4 of the 6-page document, in the last paragraph, there's a little sentence that, I mean, I read this 5 times, and it wasn't until I read it the 5th time that I saw this sentence. If the facility ends up costing significantly more than estimated, or state subsidized financing is not available, then the city may need to reevaluate rate increases in future years. In other words, this is somewhat marginal advice, in my opinion, that with one sentence in there basically says, this is what we think we need, but if we don't, we're going to raise the increases again. That's what we're faced with now. This was 2015. I want you to look for this, because this triggers the timeline for opposing the rate increases. This is the first thing that happens, okay? So here we are, 3 years later. Anybody know what the sewer's going to cost? What the numbers are? 167, 150? Nobody knows. The council has admitted that nobody knows. The consultant for the city has said, nobody knows what this project is going to cost until it's done. Quote unquote, that's the consultant the city is paying. Look for that notice. Other thing about this notice right here. That date, let me back up. There's a 45-day period. Once this notice is issued, you have 45 days to submit your protest vote, okay? This date here on the notice, that's the last day in the 45-day period. That's the last day. It's not the first day. That's the last day to put in your vote or to show up at the council meeting and put your vote in. You have a 45-day period. Okay, so property owners, trying to alert everybody here. I've talked about most of this. How would your life be impacted if your rates doubled? Ask the renters. Ask the renters who pay their own water and sewer bill. Are they going to have to move? Are they going to have to get a roommate? That's the businesses. We have a fairly fragile economy here in Morro Bay. Ask the businesses what they're going to do. The hoteliers I'm very concerned about. We get a huge amount of revenue from hoteliers. Huge amount. If they raise their rates, are people who visit here going to stay 1 night instead of 2? Are visitors going to come here just for the day and not spend the night here at all? Nobody knows for sure. Renters, I want to talk to you renters specifically because you have no vote. You have no vote in this. You cannot vote against the rate increases. But will they impact you? Absolutely. Unless you've got just a great landlord, you're a great tenant. I just doubled, the sewer and water rates have doubled, but we're going to leave your rent the way it is because you're just a really good tenant. That could happen. There are great landlords out there, but let's be honest. Most landlords are going to at least want to share that increase with you. Your rent goes up. Are you living hand to mouth right now? Are you going to have to move? Are you going to have to move someone in with you? I'm going to talk about renters and how you can help us in just a minute. So the second part is to inform you about the voting process. It's a very kind of odd one, and that's why most people don't know about it. It's like an opposite vote. You don't go to the polls in June. You don't go to the polls in November. It's called a protest vote. It's a protest vote, and you can protest any utility rate increases ever in the future. I didn't know about this until I got involved in this. One parcel. Before I jump ahead here. Okay, yeah, so we're going to talk about the rate increases, which we did, talk about the vote no for the increases, and then we're going to have one of our technical experts talk about the condition of the plant we have now, because I know there are a lot of stories out there, I can't surf because there's turds floating in the water when I'm out there. Not true. Not true. So the city's number one in goals. So the city set goals over the last few years, and I want to talk about number 1 goal and number 2 goal. Number 1 goal, which Cal supports 1,000%, is we need to achieve fiscal and economic sustainability. Economic sustainability. We've got some serious financial issues. We have pension costs that are piling up. We don't know how we're going to pay for. In case you haven't noticed, the streets are not paved properly, completely. I've got a big pothole around the corner for me, and I know what North Morro Bay looks like. The streets are not paved. We have reserve funds that are underfunded or not funded. That's goal number 1. Economic sustainability. What's goal number 2? Complete the $167 million sewer project. Now, does it make any sense at all to throw that on top of a city that is already in financial trouble? You run the risk of undermining and destabilizing the hotelier businesses. You run the risk of people moving out. You run the risk of businesses going out of business and leaving town. What are you going to do then? They're completely antithetical goals. Completely antithetical. This city does have economic problems that have to be resolved. And going forward with this project at this time, I think, is extreme risk. Second point, project control is not in place. So in 2013, we were in front of the Coastal Commission, talking about putting the new plant next to the one that's there. We're talking $30 million. Let's see, it's 2018. So in 5 years, the project cost, the estimated project cost has gone from 30 million to 167 million. Or 150, you pick a number. 30 million in 5 years. In 5 years, the cost of the project has gone up a multiple of 5. That's why we're here. That's why we're involved. Project controls, where are they? Now, the council and staff, they all mean well. I know they've worked hard. Times change. This is a long project, but there's never been an expert representing the city who knows how to manage projects like this. So we look at 17 sites, we do an estimate, we do this, lots of motion, but we're making progress that just continues to go up for no apparent reason. Now the 75 million that we approved in 2015, that was for sewer on Rancho Colina, which is about a 1.5 miles from the existing plant. The current proposed location, South Bay Boulevard, is 3 miles from the plant. So does another 1.5 miles equate to $130 million more dollars? It just doesn't make any sense. And the city is ready to, they're pushing this project, and they actually have out to bid the contractors to build the plant, the South Bay Boulevard. They're opening the bids at the end of April. End of April, people. That's why we're having this meeting now, because in 60 days they're going to have a number or 2 numbers. They started with 4 bidders, 2 withdrew. They're going to have 2 numbers, hopefully, on the table, and they're going to want to jam it, and they're going to want to say, let's do it, let's start building this thing. That's why we need you. We need your voice. Once they take that first construction contract and award it, and they start building, it's too late. Because you might get it half built and then ask for more money. There's no guarantee that it's going to cost 167 or 150. So, the issue will not be on a June ballot or any ballot that you're used to voting on. This is known as a protest vote. So we only take no votes. You want to vote yes? Sorry, it doesn't count. We only take no votes, and every property owner, who's a property owner here? Every property owner, you get 1 vote. Every parcel gets 1 no vote. Are there any tenants here who pay the water and sewer bill? Okay, you get 1 vote. Now, if each parcel only gets 1 vote, how does that work? Okay, if the tenant and the property owner vote no, the parcel gets 1 vote. Okay, if neither of them vote no, the parcel gets a 0. It's not a yes, it's just not a no. So if you're a property owner or a person paying a water and sewer bill, you'll get a notice like this. Okay, which basically is saying 45 days to turn in a no vote if you want to vote no. So what we need is half of all the parcels, and there are about 5,900 to 6,000 parcels in Morro Bay. We need half that number plus 1 to win. So that's 3,000 no votes. 3,000, it's not 300, it's 3,000. That's why we need your help. We're a very active group, but there's no way we can talk to every property owner. There's no way we can talk to every tenant who pays a bill. We really need you to do that for us. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your tenants. If we don't get the 3,000 votes, the rate increases go into effect. Talked about 1 vote per parcel. There's different options here. Either protest is 0. Talked about that. Here's the notice again. And the reason I brought this up is because this is the first thing you'll see. This starts the 45-day period. So watch for it.
But it's 45 days before that date.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's 45 days prior to the date on the notice for the public hearing.
That will come in our sewer bill?
It might not. It might come in a separate envelope. The city hasn't told us how they're going to send it out, but you will get it via mail. You can also, if you're looking for it, don't know if it's started, contact Cal, because we're going to be watching it very closely. You can look at our Facebook page, send us an email. Has the 45-day period started yet? If you give us your email address on the way out, we'll put you on an alert list. So the day that comes out, we'll send out a mass email to alert everybody that that period has started.
So how is anybody gonna know if one lot costs more than one vote?
Well, the city counts them there. The city counts them all.
So
So
we're putting our parcel number on our vote.
Or address?
what you do is, and I'll go through that in just a minute here. Okay, it's a very simple form. Protest timeline, 45 days. Now, one thing we are asking, when you can really help us with is this, and they've done this in other cities.
How many parcels are there in Morro Bay?
About 6,000, 5,900 in that
We
range.
have to have at least.
We have to have half plus one, yeah.
But just in answer to the question,
Yeah.
if you are successful, if we're successful, then the project doesn't go forward?
Well, this is, I'll give you a little hint, okay? The rates were raised in 2015, and we were promised a $75 million sewer plant, 10 million in infrastructure repair, blah, blah, blah. Our position, frankly, is we've approved all that stuff, find a way to build it. It's not our job. Why should I go to city council meetings twice a month? The city is supposed to be managing this project. If they don't have people on staff to do it, hire somebody. I'm retired, man. I mean, I've worked harder on this thing than I did when I had a job. So our bottom line position is we approved this in 2015. That's the budget. Build what you can. Don't bother me with this, oh, well, it's gonna cost more. That's ridiculous.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Scott just stood up and said that he was going to hire a project manager. How much money's left in the contingency right now in the city?
We have no idea. We have asked for a full financial accounting of the money that we approved 3 years ago, and we have some information.
But the
But
money,
we've asked for is, how much has been spent on the projects that we approved in 2015? How much is left to do that we haven't done? What level of debt service can we support with the money from 2015? I mean, just alone, the
But
fact that we
that
can't get
money is
full
earmarked.
financial, go ahead.
but that money is earmarked already, the sewer increase money is earmarked for a sewer.
I think so. I mean, you know, if you don't get the information back from the city, I don't want a 20-page report.
Yeah.
I want a single-page executive summary that everybody in this room can understand. And I've asked for that. And in deference to Scott Collins, our city manager, who's only been here 4 months, he said he's working on it, he's gonna get that to us. And in fact, we don't have it right now, is not a big deal in that I believe Scott will develop that. But that's huge for us, asking for another rate increase 3 years later, when we don't even know how the money has been spent on the first one. It's outrageous. Who would ask for that? One more question, then I'm moving on.
She brought up a really good point. What about people who don't live here, the absentee owners? How are we gonna get to them and make sure they vote the right way?
That's why we wanted you to come. Thank you for coming. We really need your help on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're doing a mailing to all property owners, so we have a list of all the property owners in Morro Bay. We're doing a mailing, but we're afraid they're gonna throw in the trash, as junk back.
Nobody needs to visit them.
What?
Yeah. Okay, do you live out that way, or? Do you wanna go to Fresno for the weekend?
Get a bus pass.
Okay, seriously.
Could you tell me what you just said a minute ago? Could you tell me what you just said?
About property owners?
Throwing it in the trash or something.
Oh, you know, you get a lot of stuff in the mail, and, you know, like you get this, it's a nice flyer from the city, but, I mean, I don't read this stuff. I go to the bills, and everything else I just throw away. So we're concerned, because of the cost, that's where the donations come in, the cost of mailing a letter is a lot more than mailing a postcard. So right now, we're thinking about doing a postcard like this, and if we do this to all the property owners, then we're looking at $3,500, $4,500. Just to send a postcard that might end up in the trash. So we're concerned, we're really concerned about the property owners. There are a lot of empty houses here. So we're very concerned about that, and you can help us. Okay, I want to move on here. Okay, so here are the 5 things that go on your protest vote. Your name, easy enough, printed, first and last name. Your address, or your APN number, your parcel number, either one is fine. And this goes for the tenants who pay the bill as well as the property owners. Then you have to say, I protest proposed water rate increases. Simple enough. I protest proposed sewer rate increases. Very simple. And you have to sign it. That is all that the law requires. But if you want to win, we've got to get 3,000 of these. 3,000. Here's a sample protest vote. And we have some samples, I think, on the seats there. You're welcome to take them with you.
I'm collecting them.
It's basically the same information. I just put a couple of check boxes in there. Okay, so that's it. Now, where should I send my protest vote? If this gentleman wants to send his original to the city, that's great, but please at least send us a copy. Okay, so we know who's voted, how many votes we have, how hard we have to work to get to 3,000.
When does the 45 days start?
It starts when you get this. It's supposed to be a 45-day period. So
we don't
you should
even know
get
it.
this. You should get this. It could be as early as May 1st. The city has said it might be mid-May. It might slip to even June 1st. We don't know. But basically, the 45 days starts 45 days prior to this date, regardless of when you get the notice. Yeah.
Yes, what is so clear is that one protest vote per
Parcel.
property.
Per parcel. If you have 2 no votes, they just count 1. Okay.
If you have more than one parcel, you get more than one.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Is that what you're at? Yeah. Multiple parcels. You vote on each one. Yeah.
Excuse me, I need some clarity on tenants.
Okay.
Did you say earlier that a tenant that is paying for their own utilities can vote?
They can.
Okay, but there's only one vote, so
Right.
if the tenant for the property will vote no,
Yes.
we don't need to pursue the property owner.
That's correct.
Okay.
Or you could turn into. But we just need 1 per parcel. Let's see. Yeah. So we're asking you to mail it to us. At least mail us a copy. Okay. Questions about voting? Okay. A lot of them have been asked, but go ahead, Mark.
Just a clarification for anybody who lives in a mobile home park.
Yeah.
If the mobile home park is one owner, but if the people who are living there individually pay their own sewer or water bills, they each have a vote, right?
Well, some of the mobile home parks you pay for water and sewer, you pay it to the landlord or the owner of the park. That's not the same. If you get a bill from the city for water and sewer, you have a vote. Whether you're in a mobile home or wherever you are. Get a bill from the city. If it's from somebody else, you don't have a vote. Where?
Another question, Jeff.
Yes.
About the voting. When is it appropriate to send in your protest vote?
Well, the votes have to get to the city during that 45-day period. Now, I ran into someone yesterday and said, I'm going to be gone for 2 months and out of the country. Can I vote before that? And I said, yeah, give it to Cal. We'll turn it in during the 45-day period. I mean, what can I say? You know?
People could leave here today and have.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is in the law. This is actually in the law. If you change your mind, you voted no already, and when you see the rate increases and and they're really not that bad, you can go to the city and say, I want to pull my protest vote, and they'll hand it to you, and it just goes in the trash. So that is part of the law, the 218 law. So just I want you to know that. Any other questions about the voting process?
I have a question about it.
Back in with the red.
Yes, I live in a mobile home park, but I pay sewer and water that is on my rent statement.
Okay.
Get a vote.
No.
No.
That goes to the owner of the park.
So
The owner of the park pays the bill. So it's important for you, if you know the...
I pay it though.
No.
Yeah, but you're not... You do pay it, just like, yeah, any renter pays the bill directly or indirectly. But you do not have a vote in this law. So you need to talk to the owner or property manager for that park. And maybe you can get a whole bunch of people together in your park and talk to the owner and say, hey, vote no on this. Yes?
And are we sure it's legal to send our vote to you and not directly to
It's totally legal. It's been done by other cities, yeah.
You still write on there, and I sent a copy to you, and you're getting this copy. You make that right on your own protest letter, that there is another copy of this floating around, buddy.
If you want to, it's fine.
What about,
It's fine.
what about the property management companies that manage many properties for outside owners and whatnot?
Yes.
They're gonna pay the utility bills, they'll be getting these votes in, how do they inform is it incumbent upon them, just voluntarily to inform the owners of their?
Unfortunately, it's not, and I'm glad you brought that up because I went to several, in my travels, I went to several apartment buildings with multiple units, and there's a property manager on site who didn't know anything about it. I said, well, can you get just the property owner? He said, well, I'm not sure, I can mail it. So that's another thing we really have to face up to, and that's one thing Cal is actively doing. We're pursuing the owners of these large buildings. Take Mission Linen, for example. It's a big business here, but they're based in Santa Barbara. They have businesses all over. We need to get to the corporation. We need to get to the person, at least at the operational level, that can vote no on this. So we spend a lot of time doing that. So if you know people in apartment buildings who have a good relationship with the property manager or might know who the owner is, we need that information. We will help renters get to the level they need to get the no vote. Otherwise, it goes into effect and it's going to go on your rent. In the back in orange.
Who tabulates the votes?
The city tabulates it at the public hearing. In this case, it was May 26, 2015. They tabulate them right there. Now, I don't think they're going to count all right there, but maybe they do. I don't know.
So nobody wants the rates to go up, obviously, but aren't we kind of going down the same rabbit hole? Like the longer we wait, the same thing will happen to us that did in Los Osos.
Yeah.
That's a really good.
That's why it's gone from 30 million 5 years ago to where we are now, because they know that we're putting ourselves in a corner. So this meeting, in essence, we're all agreeing to a degree to put ourselves in that corner. We just still don't know where the hell the plant's going to go.
That's a great question, and when we knock on doors, we get a lot of people that say that. People are sick of hearing about this project, you know, they say, get it done, I don't care what it costs. You know, you can say that until your bill comes. But our answer to that is, we are another Los Osos right now.
So
This is a project that's totally out of control. It's 5 times what it was 5 years ago.
But we're just,
This is Los Osos
this just
times
gives
10.
people leverage to make it more money in another year. That's exactly how these contractors do it. It's that way in every industry. And they've got you, once the laws are passed and the CCSD and all these people step in and say, you've got to build a plant, guess what? The only 2 people who are going to have their bids and the lowest one's going to get it, and it's going to be twice what it is now. You can bet on it.
Well, you know, we hear a lot of different things about price, and we need to build it now because it's going to cost more in the future. Well, what doesn't cost more in the future? Is that?
What does that mean?
Well, I'm not sure what that means either. Let's build a $167 million plant because if we wait, it's going to be 180. Our answer is no, the plant is completely out of scale. There are a number of options that have not been considered, and we approved a plant in 2015 for $75 million. Find a way to build it. Or save the money until you have enough. If I want to buy a Corvette, okay, am I going to buy a Corvette because they're offering 0% financing? I can't make the payments? That's what this train is on. That's the path.
Question back here.
Yeah.
They had a waiver, I live out of town, they have property here, they have a waiver, but there's a fine going to be imposed if they don't do something. Is that not correct?
That is correct, and my answer to that is, shall we build a $167 million project? Or should we pay a few $1,000s in fines until we get a project that we can afford long term? I say pay the fines and find a project that works with our budget from 2015.
So is that the fine, a couple $1,000?
I don't know the exact amount, but I think it's pretty far away from 167 million. I'll tell you that.
What's the reason that they didn't accept the 2015 approval? For 50 or 75?
Well, at that time, that was for a specific parcel called Rancho Colina that's on Highway 41. They thought they had a deal with the property owner to build it there, and then that deal fell apart. So they had to start looking for other sites.
Today, are you going
That was 3 years ago.
Today, are you going to have a mic so that people can voice their opinion?
I'm sorry, have a what?
Questions?
Right now, are you going to have a mic so people can voice their
Well, you know, we hadn't planned on doing that. How are we doing on time, Barry?
Are
We're
you
pushing
just
it.
You're just gonna talk?
Primarily, we're talking about the voting process and letting everybody know, okay? We're gonna schedule another workshop.
Is there gonna be a time for people to voice their
Come to the meeting.
Yeah, we meet every Wednesday at 1 o'clock at the Coalesce Bookstore if you want to come. This meeting
So
is,
right now, nobody's going to voice their.
Right. You can do
well,
that.
we've heard some opinions.
Twice a month.
Let's see what the time is like, because I need to bring our technical guy up here. Questions about voting, existing plants. So we wanted to talk about the existing plant because there is a lot of misinformation about the condition of the existing plant, which is one of the reasons for, hey, we got to build a new plant right away. So the technical guy on Cal, who knows more about this than our whole group combined, really smart guy, is going to say a few things. He has spent thousands of hours meeting with council members. He has visited plants. He has met with sewer contractors. Please listen up to Barry Brannon. Thank you.
I see Joan Solo back there with a question. If she has good questions, she's going to back up. The thing that we all say is, okay, I get up in the morning and take a shower. Where's all that water go? And if I can make this thing work. I need a technical. Ah, wrong button. There you go. Yeah. That's backwards. Let's see if it goes this way. There it is. Okay. Here's the plan. I don't know if people have been there or not. It's well kept. I could say that. I was there on Friday before lunch, and I had a good lunch afterwards. So I can tell you, it's well kept. Very clean. If you know where the high school is, this is on Atascadero Road. The ocean is out here. The ocean's out here. This is the high school. Highway 41's over here. And the plant is this area there. You can see all the little details. But the things that are important is right here's the desal plant. So there's no money to move the desal plant. It's kind of interesting. That's where it's located. Secondly, down here is a parcel that's called the old concrete plant. That's Hanson. I'm not promoting any of these positions. I just want you to know when you hear the word Hanson Concrete Plant. This is 2 acres, 3 acres. This happens to be the highest piece of property in all the facility. Right here is called the headworks. If you can think about everything, and if you guys grew up in the country like I did, everything kind of flows downhill and goes to one spot. Well, this is the spot where everything in the city goes. Everything goes to that point. So whatever we do, that point is critical. If we change things, we got to build a new one of those. We just spent millions of dollars upgrading it, fixing the pumps, fixing the screens. But this is the existing plant. We're lucky today. We have Joe Mueller, who runs the plant. I couldn't believe he came out. But he's got a great office, a great team. We get a report every year from a consulting firm that comes in and looks and see how our plant's been operating. And they've stated clearly that the plant is well run, but occasionally we have problems with it, and we have problems primarily because of rain. If we get 1 inch of rain in the city, the plant gets 500,000 gallons more that day. When you have a plant that can only handle 1 million gallons or 1,000, so you can see that 1 inch of rain will overwhelm the plant, and it does. I've got a chart here that shows what happened last year, and I've seen a new one. It's not out yet. There's the sewer, the headworks, and the treatment plant, and the desal plant is right next to the, should point that out. The desal plant is there, and this is our water clarifier. All the water that we get goes in here out of our wells. It has to come through that plant. These facilities can't easily be moved. That's not included in the wastewater treatment plant to move either one of those critical infrastructures. And a bigger arrow on this thing. Okay, so the plant is well operated. But occasionally we have a problem with the plant gets more flow during the short period of time than it can handle. The plant was originally designed for 5 million gallons for single treatment. Some years ago we upgraded the plant to get secondary treatment, but that reduced our volume down to 1 million gallons a day. And if I'm way off on that, let me know, but I think that's right. So the plant can really only handle 1 million gallons a day. The interesting thing about that is that if you take this is a hard chart to read, but this shows what the plant is like. Over here is 1 million gallons a day. That's this level. And the black line is what's been going on. And you can see when you get rainfall, this little dotted line is what's overwhelming the plant. The good thing about that is it's clean water coming in. So they take the clean water that comes in and they mix it with the stuff that they get treated as much as they can, and that goes in the ocean, but it's clean enough to not basically set off any alarms or violate any levels. But you can see every time you get a peak here, it's caused by rainfall. Now the chart that I don't have, and it just came out, was the one for 2017. This black line is rainfall, but if you guys remember, last January and February, the rain we had, this black line is up here all the way across. And we were putting a lot of stuff in the ocean. We weren't violating any rules. We were cleaning it up, but the operators weren't really paying attention. We were going to have problems. So we've been fortunate to have a plant that operates well. The thing that's, to me, that was interesting, you say, okay, Morro Bay is going to, our partner's Cayucos. Cayucos is going to build a plant. their operation, they use about 25% of what the plant capacity is. So they will take out, when they go away, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, I guess. All right, there's the red line. That red line will be the flow when Cayucos is gone and when the wastewater, when the pipes are repaired. There are leaks in our main lines that, well, you could drive a truck through some of them, in my opinion, but they're horrible leaks. Our lines are small, they're old. We just did a huge study, which I got to see part of it, called One Water Study. And the main line coming down Main Street, I asked Joe, I said, how do you handle these big peaks? He says, well, what happens, we can only handle so much to the plant. So some of it backs up in the main lines, and it backs up in the manholes. And a real bad day, I don't know how much it backs in the manholes, but they're going around and sealing up with water coming in and out. So our problem, yeah, we've got a wastewater treatment plant problem, but in my opinion, the worst problem is our collection system. Our collection system is in crisis. There's a man here that did a report some time ago, Mr. Sadowski, and they've got cameras in there. Our collection system is critical. And the problem is, when you get a surcharge of water in the main line coming down Main Street, and it can't go to the plant, where does it go? We're putting sewer out in the ground. We're actually putting sewer into the ground on any time you get a rain overfall. There's nothing they can do about it. They run it as hard as they can. So the plant can use some work, but the thing that really is hurting us is the leaks in the system. The Embarcadero mainland line is 12 feet deep. Now, I don't know if the street on Embarcadero was higher than the ocean, but it kind of seems to me like our main line in Embarcadero is probably under salt water. So let's think about that. It's on sand, it's on fill. I think that they know about some problems in that line. So I believe our critical problem is with our collection system. I'm not saying we don't need to do better, I'd love to do better, but that is a big thing. When you see with Cayucos coming out, and it was some repairs in our collection system, and spend some money on our plant, I believe that with the money, right now, we're collecting $6 million a year from you for your water and sewer fees. That's how much you're collecting, over $6 million a year. Part of it runs the plant, but part of that's because of the rate increase we had in 2015. So that money can be used on the infrastructure. That takes a lot of tough planning to do it. But that's would be priority one if I was king, but I'm not king. Okay, so use the money to fix the pipes, upgrade the equipment. That plant's old, it's got some old beat up equipment, but when I was a boy we had old cars. We kept them running. And maybe you put a new transmission in, a new pump, new pipeline. But that plant has got concrete, it's bad, 70 years old, but it's got a tremendous footprint. We already own it. If we build a new plant somewhere else, you're gonna walk away from a hell of an infrastructure. So I believe, and then as far as recycled water goes, we have a pretty good water filter in our house. I don't like the taste of stuff that comes from the city. So we're just talking about a really big, fancy water filtration system on the outlet of our wastewater treatment plant. Instead of dumping this stuff in the ocean, we can filter it and make it clean. We can get the recycled water. But the problem you have, what are you going to do with that recycled water? Where's it going to go? And when the city decided that we wanted recycled water, where do you store it? Where do you put the recycled water? Do you pump it back into the state? Well, we can't do that. So there needs to be a really good solution on how you handle the recycled water. And that probably, I think, is a question for another day. We need a new sewer plant, let's put that in. But I don't think we need at this time to invest in a recycled water. But one of the arguments that they have is to get this cheap money for with your money, you have to have a recycled component. And it kind of like doesn't not make a lot of sense if you're going to build something that you have no place to put the recycled water. You have no users for it. Farmers can't afford to buy it. Love to sell it to them, but the value is marginal. So that recycled water is very expensive to do it. I'm not saying we don't do it, and I'm sure someday in the future we're going to want to do that. But I think right now, with $6 million a year we're getting in, we can solve a lot of problems. So the recycled water element, to me, is kind of up in the air. So with Scott Collins now, we have some financial accounting that the city hasn't been enjoyed for a long time. It's a breath of fresh air when you see the reports, and we'll find out where the money is going. But we haven't had a person, an ombudsman, I'm going to call a person in the city that was looking out for me, the taxpayer. We've had council people that have worked hard, that all they've gotten is what the staff has given them. And the staff has been overwhelmed because they've got a limited people, so they've gone to some outside consultants. And frankly, I think some of the consultants have not been looking out for my interest. I go the wrong direction here.
Yeah, you up the other one.
There we go. So fix the pipes. Cayucos, maybe be done in 2 years. They bought their piece of property up on Toro Creek Road. They've got a parcel up there. They're going to build a plant. Their plant proposal that I've seen is $19 million to build a plant that's 1/3 of our capacity. Let's see, 3 times 19 is about 60. Okay, so 2 times 19 seems to me like maybe we should be able to do something about like they did. So fix the leaking pipes. Cayucos is gone. And evaluate the operations conditions. In 24 months, the sky's not going to fall. We'll know a lot more when Cayucos gets out of here. Take the money we're getting right now, focus on repairing the pipes. Let's get the volume down so it's controllable in the plant. Let's spend some money on some capital equipment in the plant. I believe that $20 million in that plant would tune it up to go to the hot rod talk. So that's what we need to do, is to tune up the plant for what we have, spend the money effectively, and then build a plan on our budget. We don't have a Malibu budget. We don't have a Pacific Palisades or a Santa Barbara budget. We've got a Morro Bay budget. We've got to live within the budget. And the only way to do it is to say, why are you spending the damn money now when you don't have a plan? I know we've got a carrot out there, this WIFI loan, but the WIFI loan is the wrong motivation. Just because you're going to get cheap money, it's like some of these student loans. Gee, I'm going to give you cheap money to become a doctor. You aren't smart enough to be a doctor, but I got cheap money for you. Pardon me. I don't mean to offend anybody, but you understand, yes. The desal plant is, we spent a lot of money on it. It's there, it's a backup, very important backup to us to have a desal plant. And as you probably know, during the time, I think there's a month or 2 months during the year where we have to get off the state water while they do repair on the pipelines. We take our wells, we run our well water through the brackish well water through the desal plant to clean it up and put it back in our system. So it's kind of a backup supply. It's very expensive to run, and it frankly isn't permitted yet. We got a temporary permit from the Coastal Commission, and I'm not sure where the status on that permit is, but it's a very expensive thing to run. Yes?
What is the relationship with the city and this plant and the Coastal Commission? Is there some rumor that the Coastal Commission is pushing to get this plant out of where it's at, pushing someplace else?
We've had staff letters from the Coastal Commission. They're available online. Aaron Oakes published it recently on his website, the last 4-page letter from the Coastal Commission. The way the Coastal Commission works is they have a staff, just like Morro Bay has a staff. That staff doesn't care about Morro Bay. That staff cares about their job, frankly. And if you're got your job because you were the right orientation as far as what you wanted to be done, you've got the job. You may or not be objective for the citizens of Morro Bay. I want to tell a story I really need to tell is when we were going to build a plant, or rebuild the plant called an upgrade, I was one of the opponents. I actually appealed to the Coastal Commission because it was the wrong plant. It's probably in the right place, but it was the wrong plant. It was an oxidation ditch in the low part of the property. There was a better way to do it. So I and 12 others were appealed to the Coastal Commission because we knew the city was going the wrong way. And I'm proud we did that. Now the question is, how do we get the city to go the right way? I don't believe we're there yet. We're working on it. We have some council people that are listening, probably the best listeners I've ever had. I've had individual meetings with each one of them. And I respect each one of them. I don't think there's a hidden agenda anywhere. But they have been subject to what the staff tells them they have and all of the other pressures of the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission, I don't believe, has received a clear alternative method to build where we are. Cal is not here to tell you how to do this. Our position is this train is going much too fast, and if we don't stop it, we're not going to get a chance to ask the questions. That's the only purpose of Cal.
Is there like a secondary two-prong approach to this where we can appeal to the Coastal Commission too to have our best interests in mind? You know, it seems kind of short-sighted just to focus on one angle when the Coastal Commission also holds a bunch of cards over our heads too. If what we're wanting is to stay where it's at, but we may be on the line to not have that permit renewed, you know, it seems like we can do something at the same time, coordinate both efforts.
I wish it was that easy, and we've had efforts within the city to do that. Our staff says no. The Coastal Commission letter is pretty daunting. If you read it, that says that if you do this, your teeth are going to fall out, and all your children are going to die, and that's all there is to it. So, and I don't think I've overstated the letter, frankly, but we don't have the answer to that. Cal does not have that answer. We think that we've had some good efforts to try to solve the problem. But we know that if we allow, Cal knows, if we allow this to become in June, and we allow what we're doing to go ahead, the impact on the city is just going to be merciless. So we don't have the answer, but we think the people we elect and the good consultants, and I think we've got some winners in there. I think Scott's going to lead us out of the wilderness. I really believe that. So, and I don't mean to put that pressure on, but I know all the past, let's say the usual suspects, and this is not a usual suspect. So it's going to take some hard work. We have some council people on there that I really am impressed with because they listen. When we first started out a year ago, we weren't even getting conversation. That's not the case anymore. We've got conversation. They're frustrated too, very frustrated, and I've heard them speak and talk about it. So democracy is a very lousy system, but I love it. So that's what we're doing there. This is democracy. We're going to find a way as a group to solve the problem. It may not be this year, it may be next year. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So it sounds like we need one of the things you keep emphasizing is the collection point. Notice the collection point, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is where the current sewer plant is. All the sewer lines are going there. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you're talking about, if nothing else, we have to improve that infrastructure that goes to that collection point. Without things breaking down. Is that correct?
Absolutely true. Yeah, the reports, if you see the reports, well, if I back up here, if you look at this chart, and you can see these little wiggly lines, those are when the plant is overwhelmed. It's overwhelmed from whenever you have a black rainfall, and I want to, this is a fellow named Larry Truesdale built this, and I want to say thank you, Larry. I get to use your green pointer. You see right there is a rainfall event. That rainfall event, it didn't fall on the plant. It fell somewhere in the city. And if you can see on that day, it had 500,000 gallons fell on that day. And look what it did to the flow through the plant. It peaked. Well, if it wasn't getting in, we wouldn't be peaking.
Well, here's what I'm coming from. Is wherever we build the plant, let's say the Coastal Commission says, you can't do it.
Okay.
You're not going to build it there. Does the collection point stay there?
Yes.
Yeah, we can't move the pipe. For example, the pipe running down at Market Arrow, we're not going to move that.
The collection point is going to stay at the current site under the current plan.
That's right. That's partially true. The current collection point that we have is called the Headworks. That's in the middle of the plant. The proposal that I found about Friday, was they're going to build a new collection point. And that new collection point is proposed to be across Highway 41, right next to the high school's new swimming pool. And it'll be underground, you won't see it. It's going to be a nice collection point. And it's going to be a pump station. It's going to be a pump station big enough that you could put the fire truck in. But everything in town is going to run to that collection point. That's the proposal. Okay?
Why is that proposal? Why do they have to move the old to satisfy the Coastal Commission?
My point is, we don't have those answers. That's why we're here today. We believe that there needs to be an objective evaluation. If you want to go home and look up some fun stuff, go look up value engineering. Value engineering is when you get somebody that's not part of the project, not a contractor, but it's a third party. They developed during the Second World War. How do we do a better job with the money we got? And we said, okay, we're going to have a peer review. Well, a peer review is not value engineering. When the guys that came down from the other cities and reviewed it were free. We didn't even give them, I think we gave them a cup of coffee. But you need to have a qualified peer review of what our project, value engineering review of what we're doing. I think that's still coming. I believe that's coming. I introduced it to Matt Nadowetsky, and he asked that question at last city council meeting. The answer was not, in my estimation, was not satisfactory. The point is, we need the questions asked. If we allow the train to go ahead, it's kind of like that old movie, the bridge is out, the bridge is out. That's where we are. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm wandering here, but if this is I see a question over there.
I have one question. On the new plant, I was informed by one of the engineers that the new proposed tertiary plant, the water still was not going to be injectable into any of our wells. Is that it will be rerouted, pumped back up over the hill, and will again exit in the outfall as we're currently using it?
Yes and no. What the current plan, as I've seen it, is to clean the water up at the new location at South Bay Boulevard. And then they're actually, at the city council meeting Tuesday night, please come. It's a nice meeting, nice people. They have a break about 2 in the morning. These poor guys. They're actually funding a study to find out if we can put the clean water back in the ground in the area where we have our wells. Now, here's the problem. You're going to have 600,000 gallons of clean water a day coming out of the plant. If you go in the area they're talking about, 600,000 gallons will float the old skating rink, it'll float the motels, it'll float everything because the hydrology will lift them right up, so you can't do that. You have to have a way to use it. So I haven't seen the solution, but they're going to study if they can do that right now. And I think that's part of the process, is you got to find out. Go ahead.
As I was told, there's injection, and then there's also, you can spread the water on the land. It's not as considered injecting into wells, and injection into wells, just what you're pointing out, we don't have.
Well, if you want to talk about what you can do with the water, at Los Osos, I was very involved with that project. They wanted to take my property to build a plant, so I ended up to here. They take the water that comes out of that plant and they spread it. They have a place called Broderson. They're actually spreading water on the ground so it percolates down on the ground to recharge their wells. There's a couple other places, but they have a lot of geography. We don't have that kind of geography available for us to spread the water, to let it go down, number one. And number two, our soils, I don't know if you guys got a yard like I do, but come summertime, you can't even put a shovel in it because that clay is so damn hard. Well, this clay will not accept water. If it was sandy down in Huntington Beach, they get all the sewer that comes down to Huntington Beach, and they actually have a big aquifer under Huntington Beach. It's all sand, and they clean that water up. For a while, they were going along the coastline with partially treated water, and they had injection wells along the ocean. A company called Poseidon went in there and cleaned that water up. Just finished the project, just went online, and they're putting that clean water back into the teacup, I call it, that's under Huntington Beach, and that water is there, and so now their wells can draw it out. But their soil is different. They got sandy soil, that's a big alluvial plain. We got clay and rocks and all kinds of places. So that problem hasn't been solved. I'm not here to, I'm kind of going off the subject, but that's not the answer. The answer is we don't know yet.
They don't have a place to put the water yet. We don't know where it's going to go. Does it make any sense to be putting out a bid for contractors to design and build things?
I think that's a question you just answered. Joan?
In 2012, there was a lot of conversation about moving the wastewater treatment plant because of its current location right next to the high school. And you're telling us that the headworks comes down, so it's going to be moved
directly next to the high school on the other side of the street somewhere.
That's a drawing that I saw yesterday, or Friday.
But the community, or the community San Luis Coastal School District, community property owners just supported an $80 million renovation to that high school with the community pool, and there was a big uproar about the current location. I'm not sure if the current city management is aware of how controversial and difficult it might be to get a large piece of infrastructure moved even closer to the high school.
Thank you for bringing those challenges to us. Because that's what the city council has to deal with. They've got an insolvable problem. They have an almost insolvable problem. So we can all find reasons why we can't do this and can't do that. But the goal of Cal is to ask them to please, if you're going to study it, here's the issue that I see. We hired the most expensive consulting engineering firm in the United States, Black & Veatch, to do a water facilities master, or excuse me, a sewer wastewater facility master plan. It's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I think it's 587 pages. Really fun reading. So we have a very expensive, we had a guy that designs Ferraris, came up with a design for us. Now we're out to bid, and Black & Veatch and another company are bidding on the new plant. I'm not comfortable with that. So the Cal's asking the question, is this really fair? And then he said, well, how come smaller contractors didn't bid on this? Well, if you look at the request for proposal that they sent out, they wrote the requirements at such a level that people who build plants our size were excluded. It's a fact. You had to have built a plant of this size within this period of time. When we don't need a plant this size, we need a smaller plant. So I don't believe we had adequate representation from people to make the proposals. And now, after they made the proposals, we had 4 bidders who were qualified. 2 of them dropped out. We got 2 left. I wonder what that phone's like at night. What are you going to bid? I don't know. What are you going to bid? Go ahead.
Have we thought about reaching out to Cal Poly? Their model is do by learning, learn by doing. I mean, there's some brilliant minds out there, and they've created some amazing businesses. Have we reached out to them, asked them to help us with this?
And here again, we're not here to give answers.
Is that an option?
Cal Poly is I'm,
That looked great on a resume.
6 months ago, I couldn't spell engineer. So I've been there. I've got one. Yeah, there's a lot of talent there. But believe me, there's a lot of talent in the fields. If I want to build a plant our size, I'd go find all the contractors who have built a plant our size and say, okay, show them to me. And I'm sure we can do that. And I won't even bring up the names, but there are contractors who have built plants our size that will give you a resume. You can do plant tours, and you can decide.
Cal Poly would think outside the box.
The problem
about
is,
what their reduced rates would be.
yeah, that's a question for the council. Right here.
What's the cost of the Los Osos sewer plant?
Okay, somebody wants to know what the cost of Los Osos sewer plant. The total system in Los Osos, now this includes the collection system. All the pipes and miles of pipes in Los Osos was about 160 to 170 million. The plant by itself, it's off of Los Osos Valley Road, the plant by itself, last numbers I had were $50 million for the plant. Now that plant is equal to or greater than the size of the plant that we need, okay? And it's plant. Now one of the things that's there, they had at the last minute, they forgot about fire. Fire, oh my gosh, the fire guy came out. This is really fun to see. You know where the cemetery is in Los Osos, and you drive in the entrance road, right in front of you, it should be Halloween, it should be decorated. It's a great big, huge orange tank. So I asked the guy, what's that orange tank for? Oh, we forgot about fire suppression. We had to put a tank in to hold enough water to put the fire out. No, that was an extra in the contract. I don't see a fire protection system in the proposals that we have, so we're going to face the same problem. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I don't like to say stop the project, but for one, the plan we have will work. We're going to have to keep spending some money on it. We need to focus on the collection system. And if we run the plant properly and we repair it properly, we will not have fines because we will not be exceeding the levels that we have to have in the ocean.
Why can't we do what Cayucos did for $20 million? Or why can't we share with Cayucos?
Well, you see, and I can go on beyond that. If you really want to talk about why can't we, Cayucos has a piece of property up there right next to it. They have a room. It's a mile further than South Bay if we were to pump it over there. So it could be done. I have not heard that it's cheaper. But if you really want to be innovative, Los Osos, and here's what I go back to, engineers make mistakes. Los Osos was designed for 1 million gallons of flow a day. So they went in there, and because they had to pay for all this, they raised everybody's water rates. They raised the water rates, people use less. So all of a sudden, they've got 98% of the houses hooked up. And the plant's only getting 500,000 gallons a day. In other words, they're getting half in the plant what it was designed for. So therefore, the plant has to keep recirculating the stuff within the plant and not send it out to their ag reuse, because if they don't, the animals in the plant that clean it up will die. So we have some areas of question. We could actually, to solve that problem, we could take our water and we could pump it, our waste, excuse me. What if we pumped it all the way to Los Osos? Los Osos has the capacity to handle our flow. They need our water badly. So that door has been talked about. I mentioned to Mr. Gibson. I don't know. I have not heard that conversation. But there's a lot of what ifs. Cal's not here to give you the solution. Cal's just saying, please help us notify your neighbors that we need to stop the project and get some answers. And come to council meeting. Ask questions. The Cal group is sincere. I mean, we're talking about people that probably got a $600 a month Social Security payment. That's all they're getting. And they're living in a 400 square foot RV or less. That they say, I can't have my water bill go up. And we have all extremes in the city, we know it. But we have to get a chance to ask the questions. This council is listening. I believe that. We have some people that disagree, but we don't have the answers. But we know if we don't stop it now, forever hold your peace. I'm just reviewing. Jeff, thank you.
So Barry is not only a lot more knowledgeable than I am about sewer plants, he's also funnier. And he answered all the questions I said we weren't going to answer. So I want you for that, because that's really it in a nutshell. We don't have all the answers. We have some ideas, but it's up to the city, I think, as leaders to step up and say, you know what? We're wrong. We made a big mistake. Mistakes have been made. We forgive you. We're not going to bust you for the millions of dollars that have been spent already. We just don't want to continue the process. Step up and lead and work with us. We know a lot about options. We know things about the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission will say lots of things, but until you present an option to them, they're not going to formally respond. So the things you hear about what the Coastal Commission says, we want you to move it. If it's not economically feasible, and this is right from the Coastal Act of 1976, if it's not economically feasible, they can't make you do it.
There you go.
Moving the plant 3 miles away is not economically feasible for this city. And when I spoke before the council, the Coastal Commission about 6 months ago when they were up in Cambria, I went up there and I said, those people of Morro Bay are not going to approve another 218 boat. We're not going to do it. We cannot afford it. And I had the feeling that maybe half or more of those commissioners heard me. But the bottom line is, we have to stop the flow of money, or this will continue on. We hope our leaders will step up, but if they don't, we need to be prepared to stop the money. So, I just have a couple more things to say. One more thing, is Jeff Eccles still here? I neglected to introduce him at the beginning of the meeting, I apologize. He's running for supervisor against Bruce Gibson, and he was here earlier.
Patrick Sparks, I'm also on the ballot.
Okay, Patrick Sparks is also on the ballot. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, just a quick thing. Look for this in the mail. Okay, this date. Whoops. Whoop. This date is the end of the 45-day period. You get this notice, not the beginning. So we'd like you to, if you want to stay in touch with us, write your name and email address on the program. There's a line there. You drop it at the table on the way out. That way you'll get alerted every time anything happens. We will send you an email. Take a sample ballot, which is part of the program, and also a business card. Consider making a donation. We're running up bills fast, meeting in nice places like this, but we want you to know we're a serious organization. Help us alert your neighbors. Help inform Morro Bay. We need 3,000 protest votes. Please help us. Now I'm going to bring up Carol Truesdale.
Don't give me any more buttons to push. If you email us at citizensforaffordablepliving@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook, or visit our website, which is currently under construction at calmorrobay.com. And I want to personally thank a few people here, mainly you, the audience. We really appreciate you stepping in on your Sunday afternoon when you'd probably like to be out sailing or snorkeling or whatever. And I want to thank Johan Carlisle, who's been videotaping this. My Cal members that are here today is Joyce, Table Talkers, our walkers, Linda Donnelly's our email guru, Paula, Nancy, Betty, and my husband, who made the laser pointer and puts up with me when I wake up in the morning with my spreadsheet of how much it's costing. So, happy hour started at 2 o'clock. If you have more questions, I'm going to be at the bar. Okay?